Welcome to the motive, a reason for doing something, especially one that is not obvious. We go over different topics, different subjects about mortgage, about life, and about miscellaneous junk that hopefully brings value, gets you excited, and makes you ask questions. Today, we're going over kind of a general topic, I guess. Everybody talks about, everybody wants. It's on social media all the time and everything else, but balancing your life, your work life, I guess, is kind of what we talk about, right? A balance in life, I should say. How to achieve the balance. Are you working too much? Are you not working hard enough? What are the benefits of each? Will you want to jump in on that part? We'll start with that topic, maybe, like, working too hard, not working hard enough to make sure you enjoy life, family,
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those
Netflix, whatever it
things,
is you're doing.
Netflix and chill. No, I feel like it's one of those things that people, like you said, think about or know about, but they actually don't. They just like they move on to life and they move on to their each day and they don't back out and think about, hey, am I working too hard? Not enough? Am I not paying attention to my family? Have you ever heard of those people that have worked 20 years and are like, God, I wish I would have spent more time with my kids? Or the opposite is like, damn, I screwed off for those 10 years and went hiking in Costa Rica. And
I
so,
see. I hear both sides of it.
right. So, um,
The funny part, by the way, though, is I guess it comes down to what you want in your life. If you want to really take a step back, because the people I hear that say, I wish I would have spent more time with my wife and kids or my family are usually super successful and have given their family something amazing. And the other ones that say I screwed up too much are usually struggling in life at the same time. So, what do you really want? How do you
well,
balance it? What's more important?
that's what I'm saying. And what from my experience and what I've seen is like you said, after the 20-year period, yeah, you might be successful if you worked 80 hours a week and you never saw your family. Okay, those people at the end of that rainbow or whatever you want to call it, that road, always look back and the grass is always greener. That hippy dippy that went, didn't work at all and had fun and this and that, had a great time for that, but yeah, he didn't end up with anything at the end of the road. So I think he wishes I should have buckled down and did some things in my. So I think it's always the grass is greener a little bit, and that's why I think that balance is trying to find that middle ground to where you can be successful, but also have those life experiences, those fun things that you shouldn't be missing out on. So that's the
Yeah,
hard part.
that's a hard one to figure out how you want to achieve it. You nailed it. It's like the grass is greener mentality, right? That we're
Right.
never satisfied. I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. I'm too tall. I'm too short. I'm not making enough. I make too much. Well, nobody prices that, but
Yeah.
I don't spend enough time with my family. I don't have enough alone time. I mean, I don't know. At the end of the day, it's almost like our error, this wokeness to me, kind of partially, because I mean it's been around forever, but it's not like I don't know. It's very sensitive, I guess. Like find out what you want. You're not going to be right either way until you do it. But can you? How do you achieve that? Like how do you end up happy at the end of your life where you say, I did spend time with my family and I was successful in, love, finances, health, wealth, personal, mental, everything else was all balanced, right? Like, how do you achieve that?
Yeah, I don't know. How do you get out of life alive? No, I just think that, yeah, there's a lot of cost and benefit to each side, right? I mean, we just talked about you're going to miss all the time with your kids on one end. On the other end, you're not going to have any financial wealth at the end of the day. You're not going to be able to do things. You're not going to be able to afford things later on in life. You're not going to be able to retire early or whatever the case. So, yeah, finding that middle ground is like always tough. And like, I mean, do you have any examples of anybody that was 70, happy? I mean, obviously they look back. I've made mistakes. I regret things, but overall happiness. I mean, how do you end up happy when you're at the end of your road there? That's why I think maybe there's so many ways to go about this. It's just a great topic that I think most people don't back out and think about. They just kind of live each day and then go on to the next day and on. So, uh,
I love this topic. I could talk for hours about this stuff because it's a debatable topic. Because we can just bounce back and forth of why it's better to do this and then why it's better to do something else, and we can probably keep going on it. I
right,
mean, it's
right.
it's it's a like you said, it's a topic everybody wants, everybody talks about. You know, those like generic phrases like, I want financial freedom, I want legacy, I want to whatever, I want my family to love me and cherish me, or whatever it is. We all have our generic things. But the question is, who's doing something about it? And like you said, most people are going to have all these excuses of, I should have done this and I should have done that, and whatever the case is. And you said there are some people that are old and happy and successful and maybe balance their life out. My thought is I would want to talk to those people. Why would I
Right.
want to sit here and think about it and talk about it with other people that don't have balance when I can go sit down with, grandma over here or 80-year-old whoever, who I admire, who I mentor, because they ended up being successful and having a loving relationship and spending time with their kids, and they're still healthy, and whatever the case is, whatever it is, that was what I want to be, the balance in life. I need to go talk to that person above all else and get rid of all the other thoughts and excuses and coulda, shoulda, wouldas that you have in your head. That's my thought. What are
No,
your
I like
views?
that. Yeah, ask somebody that's been through life. I love talking to older people. You know, they have so much to give as far as advice and just information. I mean, they have so many years of experience that you can just grab from and just use those little tidbits just for your own life in general. But yeah, I mean, for me, you know, it's always fluctuating as far as work, um, work and outside of work balance and the fun and life and family and everything. I think it's always going to be like this ebb and flow wave thing that you might have to do a ton of work this week or this month or whatever, but it's going to balance out. Hopefully, you can take some time off or whatever. Obviously, we'd all like to be, you know, some of us need to be working, right? We need to have things to do and this and that. Does everybody wish they were rich and had no desires or work or things to do throughout the day? Do you want to just sit on a beach and sip mai tais and watch the waves, or do you want to do stuff? So I think people need work. I think people need to have that side of things. But um, yeah, I just think if you can draw it up somehow, I think everybody's case is different. Like you just said, it's
And
just one of those
what are your
things.
views of like the balance in your life? I mean, like, how do you work versus your life? How do you balance it out? My pick, at the end of the day, these are all just what people's opinions are. Everybody's going to be different. So
Right.
I'm different than you, I bet. And everybody out there listening would be different as well.
Yeah, I mean, I try to stay 50-50. I try to, like I said, but I think it ebbs and flows and goes to 40-60, 30-70 at times. But I can tell in those 70 work times and 30 leisure times, if you will. Yeah, it's not healthy for me, and I feel it the other way. If you're not working as much and if you're you know messing around or you're on vacation too long, you start having that itch like, oh, I need to get back to work. I need to do those things. So I've kind of programmed my brain, and I don't know. I have those feelings on that teeter totter to get myself back to center and try to get that 50-50% momentum going there. And I'm always trying to stay there, but like I said, it ebbs and flows, and you're never gonna stay there. It's just always moving one way or the other. So, but the goal is to try and balance out and put more weight on the other to get you there. So that's kind of
Yeah.
where I try to live. You know, it's always hard because you never know what's going on the next week or the next month, but that's where I try to live in that wheelhouse there, kind of. Yeah, hopefully. So,
Yeah. I think
uh,
it said everybody's different. I mean, I hear, I'll tell you my view in a minute too, but I mean, I, so here's some examples of people I know of what their view are or what they've expressed their views to me with their balance in life. I know people that bust their ass working 80 hours a week, 3 or 4 or 5 months in a row, 6, 7 days a week, and then do what you kind of one of the strategies, if you will, like you talked about, which is then they go on a 2, 3 week hiatus and get away from it. We used to call it going to the jungle, right? They just disappear, no contact, they're gone, but they bust their ass working hard. I know other people that think working 3 days a week, 3 hours is just too stressful on their poor mind and body, and they need more balance and they need more personal time and they need more whatever time. And so yeah, one at one extent working probably 70 hours more than the other person, but that person can complain, and they might work. I mean, there's people out there get the 4 hour work week, drive to that. Like my view though is, I mean, I once I start thinking of work as like this evil, you know, how some people have like bad taste on money, like money is the root of all evil. You know, it's like no, it's the person that holds the money that might be the root of all evil, right? Because there's people that do good with it. The inheritance you got was somebody who did good with it, probably, right? But I really like to think that they're both the same. Like if I have to separate it and make like work out to be miserable or seeing my family to be miserable or working out to be miserable, then guess what? It's going to be miserable and I don't want to do it. And there will be no balance. There's no balance with misery, I don't think, because that will drain you and it'll eventually kind of top over maybe the other half of the good. So I really like to think like I want to do it. And so I like work and life and family. To me, it's all kind of one thing. Even though there's things that like I don't like to do, doesn't mean I hate it. I don't like to do certain things. Just like I don't like to pay taxes and I don't like to make my bed and I don't like to do certain things all the time, maybe, but I still do them and it's a routine. So I don't know. I just don't want to overthink it. I mean, do something you like. There's days I might work 15 hours. There's days where I feel like the average person might think I didn't work at all, but I feel like I got a ton of accomplished because I've been on the road, but I've been making good calls or quality calls or doing something. And there's other days where I might sit at my desk looking like I'm working 10 hours or whatever, but not getting shit done because I wasn't really there. I wasn't balanced. So I think like, so when you kind of put them into, I don't know, I guess I'm not a smart man. So I just dumb things down and don't overthink it. It's like, if I don't feel like, if I'm having a bad day and I can't get myself motivated or whatever the reason is, I might not even force it. I might go take a walk or watch, you know, Seinfeld episode for 30 minutes and get out my head clear or something like that, because I'm not going to force myself to do something that I convinced myself is miserable and I don't want to do that day.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, it does. I think that, yeah, like everybody's different. Everybody has their way, but I think it's a valid point to back out and look at it, and not just go through life and look back, 30 years later and be like, what did I do and regret? And then look at that grass is always greener. Make the change now if you think, think about it now. Don't wait.
yeah, I did this with my family. I've done it myself. I recommend everybody do. I don't know if anybody's ever seen one of these. It's the little wheel of life. I don't know what do they call it? Wheel of life exercise, I guess. But Zig Ziglar, if you know who that is, great. If you don't, probably look him up. Great motivational speaker. But I think it's something really good. It's a wheel of life, right? Like you want to see where you're at with all these different things. Let me see where you're at with all these different levels, personal, physical, family, mental, financial, spiritual, career. Mark where you're at and then find out if you're making a wheel or you're making a caveman wheel that's like a square kind of chopped up. That's the balance, right? Like you want to have everything balanced out. If you're all fives, all tens, ideally. But if you're at 9 over here, if your physical's at 2, but your finances are at 9, or your family's at 9, but your finances are at 2, you're not balanced. And it's a good exercise to do. Like I said, I've done it with my family. Usually I try to do it like every quarter, so 3 or 4 times a year, pretty much, because it's going to change.
Right.
Whatever your views are right now, what you're doing, it's going to change. Balance it out. Balance.
Right. Balance in life. No, I just think it's a valid thing to look at, and I'm glad we got to talk about it. But
yeah, I think we do more of these because you know what would happen if we do this again in like a month or 2 months or 3 months. We'll probably have a totally different perspective of what we say because something has changed in our life.
Yeah.
And hopefully for the better. And maybe it'll change, where you do change it. Maybe I'll be like, you know what? I cut off at 5 o'clock and I only work 9 to 5 from now on. And then after that's my family time, or maybe I'll be like, I'm the 80-hour person and I like to go on vacation. And you might change too. So, but that's how I feel now. That's how you feel now. So for anybody else out there, is do the exercise, find out what you really want. No regrets at the end of the day.
No regrets.
You're going to make sacrifices regardless. That's what life is about, by the way, FYI. Side note, make sacrifices, don't have regrets, and just do the best you can. So, all right, guys. Awesome. We'll talk more about this. Again, reach out to us, send us a message. Let us know what you want to hear.